Welcome back, Camily. I think it's about time for another Q&A. My life moves really fast, and if you blink, you might miss something. I just feel like there's always so much to catch you guys up on, and so many questions to answer. I've been getting a lot of very interesting questions lately. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Do you ever miss living in Florida? Not really. I thought I missed it, and then I went back and visited last summer, and I realized that I hate it there, and I don't ever want to go back. So luckily, most of my family lives in Texas now. The only one who doesn't is my mom, and if she wants to see me, she can come see me. I will not be traveling to Florida. I don't want to say I'll never go back, but I definitely am not eager to. There was certain things I really liked about living there, like the beach and just the obvious things. But yeah, I really love living in Austin. What's your advice on becoming a single parent? Doing it alone is really hard, and I think there can be a lot of pride surrounding that, being like, no one's helping me and I don't need anyone's help, and I'm gonna do this all by myself. But it really does take a village, and it took a long time for me to accept the help that I needed. And I had to realize that struggling to do it on my own didn't mean that I had failed in some kind of way. I think raising kids with absolutely zero help from any other adults and thriving at that, to be like a happy, healthy person, raising happy, healthy kids under those circumstances, is virtually impossible. It's virtually impossible to do without some kind of help. So at a certain point, I had to realize, like, of course this is gonna be really hard to do on my own. I shouldn't expect to do a perfect job on my own, and it's okay to accept help. Either way, it's gonna be really hard, whether you get a little bit of help here and there or not. But for a lot of people, like, help isn't even an option, and for a long time, I was not in a place where I had a village. I had people around me who were ready and willing to help me. Throughout my time being a single parent, that's something that has come and gone and come and gone, just depending on like what family is around at the time. And sometimes that was no one. There was times where, oh, I have literally no help right now. I'm happy to say that at the moment, I have a lot more help than I used to have. Like I said, most of my family lives in Texas now, and I'm really grateful to have more help and to just be in a place in my life where I'm open and ready to accept that help. Because there very much was a point that I wanted to do it completely on my own, and I had a really hard time asking for the help that I needed. So yeah, as much as a single parent, it is all on you, it doesn't have to all be on you all of the time. How are the kids doing in school? Coco's in first grade right now, and Dee Dee's in pre-K this year, and we definitely had a rough start. The beginning of the school year, the first few weeks were pretty tough, especially on Coco, but things seem to be doing a lot better, and I'm just really proud of both of them. I love that they're finally going to the same school now, and it's really sweet picking them up and seeing Coco like be a big sister and help Dee Dee get to where she needs to be in the pickup line. I know they both really enjoy having each other's company. Top 3 movies. I definitely, that's a hard question. I can't say my top 3 movies of all time, because that's just an impossible question. I love movies, there's so many of them. But I can tell you what I've watched recently. I finally watched I, Tonya the other night, and that was on my list for the longest time, and it was such a good movie. I like that a lot. Uncut Gems is another one that it's like, everyone talks about how good it is. I had never seen it. I finally watched it. I really liked it. It's really cool seeing Adam Sandler in a serious role. And then Talk to Me, the one with the hand. I finally got around to watching that as well. I thought it was really good, and I really liked the ending. It was a fun watch. Do you still crochet? I'm so on and off with it. It's kind of like a seasonal sport for me. Like, only in the winter do I get the urge to make warm little beanies and stuff. So yeah, it's been almost a year, but it's about to start getting cold again, so I might get back into it. Someone asked, are you trans? That's a question I've been getting a lot, and I think people are pretty confused in general about me. At the beginning of this year, I came out as non-binary, which falls under the trans umbrella. I consider myself to be trans masculine, so I'm not a man. I'm not a trans man, but I'm transitioning in a masculine direction, but I'm still non-binary. So yes, I do consider myself to be trans. Just maybe not trans in the binary traditional sense that a lot of people think trans people need to be. How did your family react to you coming out? I've come out a number of times as a few different things. Like, I very first came out as bisexual when I was 14. So my family has gone through a number of coming outs, but most recently coming out as transmasculine. Everyone was very loving and accepting, and it was really heartwarming to hear from the people who know me best and who have known me my whole life that, like, yeah, no, that makes sense for you. That adds up. And the more I started to kind of see myself and express myself as who I am, the more I heard from the people around me that they really see me and have always seen me as this. Everyone's just been telling me that I seem so much more like myself, like the outside matches the inside, and yeah, it really means a lot to hear that, especially from them. It was a bit of a challenge though with my siblings. I'm really close with all my siblings, and almost all of us are some form of LGBTQ+, and so we've all bonded in that way, like having some kind of queer identity, but questioning your gender, that's not something any of my siblings have experienced. And so I felt kind of alone coming out compared to when we all individually came out as some form of queer. There wasn't this feeling of like, oh, you guys fully get it, you understand, you know how that feels. They were very accepting and willing to learn, but you know, I could feel like they don't fully understand, they don't fully know what this is like for me, they don't get what I'm experiencing right now. And so I felt kind of lonely because of that. But I have other people in my life who are trans who do get it in the way that my siblings don't get it. And I'm really lucky to have that as well. Is this the first time you've had short hair? It is, and this is also, it's a little longer now than it was like a week or two ago, but yeah, it's definitely the shortest my hair has ever been when I buzzed it. It's growing back nicely though, and I'm really excited to see what it grows into. I very much just wanted like a clean slate, buzz it all off, let it grow in. Because when I initially cut it short, it was kind of a bit of a pixie, and then I shaved the sides and did like a mullet thing. But I want to see like how it grows in naturally from a buzz cut. And yeah, my hair grows really fast, so I think it'll happen before I even know it. It'll be quite long again, ready for another haircut. Do you miss your long hair? Not at all. With it being this short, I literally do nothing to it at all. Like, it is, and it dries, and it does its thing. When it was a bit longer and like more of a pixie cut, I did have to still like style it, and even that was kind of annoying. I don't think I'm gonna keep it this short. I think I want it long enough to style and mess around with a little bit, but I definitely don't want it to be long again, and I do not miss having long hair. Looking at photos of me with long hair feels really weird now. Do you want more tattoos? I do, I really do. I feel like I need something here, especially because I have these, and it feels like there's like blank space right here now. So I want something there, and then I was thinking of maybe doing more like stars kind of on the other side to like make it more of like a wraparound type of thing. I don't really know what I want there. I thought I knew what I wanted there, but I'm starting to kind of change my mind, so I'm at a loss. We'll see. What music have you been listening to lately? Let's see. I will give you guys a song suggestion. 88 Lines About 44 Women by The Nails is a banger that I've been playing on repeat. And Ferris Wheel on Fire, which is an album by Neutral Milk Hotel, I've been listening to a lot as well. And a lot of AJJ. Love AJJ. Me and my boyfriend first met at an AJJ concert. We're always bonding over that. Love listening to that in the car with him. What has been the best thing you've done for your mental health in the last year? That's a great question. Honestly, just like lowering the bar for myself. I think it was set way too high for a really long time, and I could never meet my own expectations for myself. I could never be and do everything that I wanted to be and do because it was just so unrealistic. And I think also just reframing what it looks like for me to be mentally well, at my peak, so healthy. I think I got really caught up in like the physical manifestation of health and my routine and how often am I journaling and how many books have I read this month, and the things that felt tangible, that I could like prove to myself that I'm happy and doing good because I've done all these things and checked all these boxes. And I started to really focus more on like, am I happy? Do I feel good? Can I feel good and happy without having to do all those things and meeting these unrealistic goals and constantly being hyper focused on my mental wellness? And I think I've just been living in the moment more and trying to find happiness in the little things and the things that maybe don't read as like super healthy and good for me, but ultimately make me happy. And I think also just focusing more on like long-term goals and not setting a million little goals for myself. Because yeah, it felt good to check all those boxes of my daily routine and have a cold shower and spend 30 minutes reading my book every day and meditating and doing yoga and all of those things. It wasn't a bad thing. They were good for me. It just took up so much of my time because yeah, I used to beat myself up if I didn't do all those things in a day. And now those things feel great when I get around to doing them, and I'm happy that, you know, a few times a week I spend some time to do some self-care and do the things that make me feel good in that moment and help with my mental health. But that's not where the bar is. That's not all that there is. And I'm finding happiness in other things instead of like trying so hard to be in control. I've definitely learned how to let go and just go a little easier on myself. How did the 4-year anniversary go and how did it compare to previous years? Every year since losing Landon, the anniversary has been very different from the previous year. There's always a lot of anticipation building up to it. Pretty much all summer, I know that like come August, that day is gonna be hard. And in general, that time of year, my grief and my PTSD just gets worse. And usually all that anticipation leads up to like a big outpour of emotion and grief and tears and feelings. And so going into year 4, I very much like expected that because that's just how it's gone. And I kept waiting for me to kind of have a little breakdown about it. And sometimes that happens on the actual day of the anniversary, and sometimes that happens a few days before or a week before. But the day came and I took a second to cry and to remember him and look at old pictures, and I talked about him a lot with my friends and my family. But it didn't break me this year the way it usually does, the way I expect it to. It's always hard, it's always going to be hard. But yeah, this year it was just a lot more peaceful and intentional. And part of me felt really bad about that. Part of me felt like, why am I not screaming and crying and freaking out and having a panic attack? And I know my grief, and I know that I care, and I'll always care so deeply. And that day is always going to affect me, like I said. But I think accepting that it isn't always going to be as hard as it was, and that doesn't need to mean anything negative. You know, it's a good thing. I've come a long way, and I can feel bittersweet, positive, loving feelings of grief without it feeling like it's destroying me. But yeah, it was a lot of anticipation this year just to be surprised by myself and the way that I handled it. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, Camille.